Welcome to the SDA component versions deltaing mechanism tutorial. Here in SDA we have an application called Delta App that currently has within its two components. We're going to look at the D1 component. We can see here that it is of type file system versioned, a base path of cwork SDA D1. And we can see that there is already one version imported, version or V1. So here's V1. I'm going to create versions 2 and versions 3. So what I'm going to do is create a derivative version by creating version 2. I'm going to add in t1.txt, but in addition to that I'm going to create a second file called t2.txt. Modify the content, and in version 3 we're going to have t2.txt, but we're going to modify that somewhat. And from that as well, we'll create a t3.txt file. Okay, so we have two more versions to import into our SDA components, so we'll go ahead and import those. Now our application already has a component process in place which will allow us to download those versions to our agent. So we're going to go ahead and request our process, our version for the D1 component we're going to specify as being V1, and we'll now go ahead and submit that. Okay, so that's executing. We'll go to details. If we just take a look, we can see here, as expected, the t1.txt file has now been downloaded. So let's go ahead, and we're now going to say let's deploy version 2 and see what happens. So can we run the same component process step? Now we can see here that in fact version 2 has only downloaded t1.txt. That's because the t1 file has not changed. There is an internal hashing system which checks to see what has actually changed between versions, thereby allowing the deployment mechanism within SDA to perform as efficiently as possible. So let's see what happens now when we go ahead and deploy version 3. Remembering that version 3 contained a modified version of version 2 and a new file called 3.txt. But also remember, we removed version 1. So here we can see that first of all T1 has been deleted. T2 has been downloaded because whilst T2 already existed in the previous version, it has in fact been modified. So because that's seen as a modification, that needs to be downloaded. And of course we have T3, the new version file within that version that required to be deployed. Please stay tuned for the next part of this demo where we'll look at the rollback mechanism that's used within SDA component deployments.